decisive moment. Who will win the 4 golden tickets to La La Land and the Summer Championships? The quarterfinals are moments away.
And here we are, the quarterfinals of the Americas playoffs. Most of the hard work is done for these players, but it all comes down to this moment. The winners of these matches are going to be going to the Summer Championships. They'll be playing for a chance at that World Championship spot. Everything on the line. Everything on the line here. I don't know what's going on, but this is going to be a rematch of I'm being really distracted now, of Purple versus DPacman. Purple just won quite convincingly, but DPacman still has a chance, has that rematch, and has that chance to move on.
He does, but it's a slim chance, to be honest, and that's nothing about his quality as a player. Already a staggering achievement to have made it this far as a Tavern hero, because historically, Tavern heroes just don't do that well in these playoffs. They do come in and from a more amateur perspective, going up against some of the best players in the game, and their results reflect that. So just to have got this far is an incredible achievement. When I say he has a slim chance, I'm not saying that because of my perceived, my perception of him as a player. The lineups just don't mesh. He has gone very heavily anti-Pirate Warrior with his lineup. He's got Galactic Crawlers everywhere. He's got Evolve Shaman, even with Galactic Crawlers teched into that, which is super unusual, just to get an even better matchup against the Pirate Warrior. Take a quick scan through Purple's. There is no pirates to be seen. Even
Control Paladin, right? You kind of look at Purple's lineup and say, was Control Paladin even going to scratch Purple at this point? Like, you can't really see it doing too well against most of the decks, if not all of the decks here. So it is going to be an uphill climb, but what I will say, we can see the players just getting ready. DPacman, even after that loss, seems very focused right now, but just before was smiling, seems pretty happy. So at least emotionally, he seems okay, and now Zen mode. Get in the Zen mode. DPacman, everything on the line here for these players. The winner goes to the Summer Championships. The loser, unfortunately, goes home.
We're going to kick it off with the Priest Mirror. Both of these players, in fact, have gone very heavily anti-Pirate Warrior, and I imagine, actually, overall, that strategy has been very successful for DPacman, because I don't like his lineup that much, just in terms of like a broad picture sense. But there has been a lot of Pirate Warriors going far into the tournament, so I imagine that's what DPacman has been preying on. Control Paladin, I find to be a very toothless deck. It really can't pressure other control decks to be able to win those kind of matchups. It only wins through attritionally beating other aggressive decks. Galactic Crawlers will definitely help him do that. But Purple has a very similar tech, so maybe that's DPacman's saving grace here, that they are both tech for a matchup that they are whiffing on for both sides due to the complete absence of Pirate Warrior.
Yeah, and just remind you, it is #1 seed versus #8 after the Swiss, so Purple has gone undefeated so far. Very impressive performance. Let's see what he can do now. Kicking off with nothing too crazy here, the Northshire Cleric just playing. It's not a matchup you really get punished by playing it early, and you may as well have a chance of getting a heal off, and already denied the Loot Hoarder from DPacman.
Yep, if your Cleric draws 1 card in this matchup, it's kind of done its job, especially when you're playing Purple's list, which is extremely cycle heavy. We see him going as far as Gnomish Inventor, as you can see in the hand right now. So the only real clean answer to a Northshire Cleric is either Shadow of Pain coming down on curve, which, fine, Shadow of Pain's a very high value card against you, kills your Lyra, for example, kills your Priest of the Feast. And then they can play Doomsayer into it, which answers it most of the time. But even then, you attack into the Doomsayer, you heal the Doomsayer, you still get 1 card draw off your Cleric. That's job done, you've started to cycle.
Yeah, there is a chance that you can get Shadowed Horror as well a little bit later in the game, but on curve answers, they are limited.
Turn 1 play.
Yeah, and DPacman had the Doomsayer opportunity here, and now he's going to go for it, maybe to just break up more of a turn here from Purple. It's very unlikely that it's going to soak a Pain this turn, which means that suddenly, well, 2 mana of a 4 mana turn, a 3 mana turn, so, oh no, it'll be 4 mana, apologize. A 4 mana turn is more impactful, right? Coin Raza is suddenly not so much on the cards because the 5/5 is very valuable. I actually really like this play from Deepak.
playing down the Loot Hoarder at the same time. This is one of the key intricacies to playing this matchup as a high level. It's getting value out of your Death Rattle card draws without presenting the opportunity to do the same to the opponent. So if you play Loot Hoarder down alongside another minion, Potion of Madness comes into play. If you play it too late, Cabal Shadow Priest comes into play. All of these things have to be factored in. So you'll often see these cards being played down alongside Doomsayers. You'll see them getting played and then Spirit Lashed in the same turn. You'll see them getting played and Shadow Reaper Anduin ping your own guy just to guarantee you're getting the card draw, because the card draw is so important. I mentioned Cabal Shadow Priest very briefly during that. It's worth noting that Admirable gloating over the fact that he called Cabal Shadow Priest as a terrible card, and the results last week reflected it. Well, Purple, our undefeated player, has a copy of Cabal Shadow Priest in his Priest deck.
And DPacman, top 8 player, also has a copy of Cabal Shadow Priest.
What do you know about that, Nathan?
Yeah. Yeah. Glimmer going for the Radiant Elemental there. And Purple, just a note, is always like one step behind now, because DPacman went Raza, then Purple went Raza as well. So it's always that one step behind. But Purple still has the coin, which when you're considering coin additional hero power with, say, Velen after an Anduin, well, you can catch up on that slight, it's like one turn behind very quickly here.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. The reason why DPacman was able to go Raza first is because of that Doomsayer timing. He interrupted the coin Raza with his own Doomsayer and then was able to load up the Raza first.
Yeah, really solid play, and I think that's when you start to edge past a lot of players of Hearthstone, is when it's not so much what's your best turn, it's what is your turn that best disrupts your opponent's plan. And there's a Cabal Shadow Priest effectively gaining DPacman one additional card draw.
Bad card.
Dodges the coin Anduin as well. Card's great. It's most likely going to be a horror. Purple just needs to clear the board, and in doing this, he doesn't present DPacman with a good Anduin turn himself.
Right.
So although, again, Purple's plans have been delayed by having to clear this board, he isn't saying, oh, well, I've left a 5/5 on the board, get that Anduin value right now. Not that DPacman even has it yet, so although the Raza race was even, the Anduin race is still looking good for Purple.
Yeah, and these are the really difficult turns to navigate now with Highlander Priest. When you get to this period where you're hitting turn 7, turn 8, turn 9, you don't have Anduin yet, what do you do? Like, how do you get value out of all of these cards that are essentially put in the deck to be, first and foremost, anti-aggro tools, and then secondly, tools for your Shadow Reaper Anduin to refresh your hero power? There's just no utility for any of these cards right now, and he just has to sit back and watch Purple drop his own Anduin on curve.
And something to just bear in mind if we just take a quick glance at Purple's stats as well by class or by deck. He has not lost a game with Priest this whole tournament.
He's not lost a game with Druid and Priest combined, I believe.
Yeah, Druid he's only played once.
He didn't. It sounded way cooler when you actually, before you threw the real numbers in.
Well, sorry about presenting facts,
yeah.
Sol.
He is combined 8 and 0, I think?
8 and 0 combined, yeah. 7-0 with Priest, of course. And very, very strong. I'm looking forward to seeing him play this mirror, but already you start to see the piece of the puzzle are locking in now. Purple having Anduin live, now following up with Kazaka, straight to the one-drop spell to just say, hey, extra Velen hero power, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, if you get the 3 damage off the 1 mana Kazaka's potion as well, obviously that doubles off Velen as well, plus the fact that it's a refresh for your hero power. He already has Velen in hand. Like, the only reason you go for a high-value potion in this matchup is if you are behind or if both players haven't hit those key cards and you need to go for that draw 3, right? Like, your hand's empty. You don't really need to answer board states. You just need to cycle through your deck. If you already have the power cards, as Purple's already hit Raza, he's already in Anduin form, and he already has Velen. Yeah, it's 1 mana every single time.
There are some like fringe instances where like 8 damage, 10 armor is okay.
It.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Literally that potion.
Is okay.
Is there ever a situation where it's worth going for exactly that one specific potion? Because that's the only 10 mana potion that's good.
Yeah, that's the backup plan for the 10 mana draw, right? It's not a bad worst case scenario, but well, it could get worse, I guess. But Purple now representing minion threats and all the cards he has in hand and some sick dance moves.
Yeah, Purple feeling it. You can see, kind of relaxed right now. I mean, relaxed is never quite a word you can use to describe Purple. He's a big bundle of nervous energy basically all the time. But the big deal is he has the experience to kind of handle that nervous energy, right? He's been here before. He is a previous America's champion. And you can see he's just in the zone.
Just feeling good.
Yeah.
He's just feeling good. And that makes a huge impact on how well you actually even play Hearthstone a lot of the time, or at least for most players. And now DPacman. Okay. Okay, I think that was a little bit not a mistake, but he seemed a little bit indecisive there. Just like, do I do this? Do I not? And when the rope's burning that low, you can't really afford to be this indecisive. And here comes the damage.
5's at 19, 4, 15, 1 mana potion, 11, circle of healing, 7, blood mage down. Well, we've got a game, Raven.
Is Purple just undefeated again with Priest?
He's really good at this deck. Potion of Madness is going to seal it as well.
Yeah,
that's even more damage from the Galactic Crawler.
There we go, Purple. Now 8-0 with Priest in this tournament. One of the hardest tournaments to play in. It's the top players from each region, and Purple showing them who's boss. Bear in mind, again, this is a rematch. This matchup just happened in the last round of Swiss. It's happening again, and Purple, if he can just repeat the performance he made in the previous match, he's going to book his ticket to the championship. Sorry.
And he has every chance because, as I mentioned, you know, that's a mirror match that he just won. And a mirror match, a perceived 50-50, is about as bad as any of the matchups line up for him throughout the entire series. So from this point on, he's going to be queuing into favorable matchups. We saw how easily he picked apart Control Paladin with his Control Warlock, for example. And there's so many Galactic Crawlers and anti-pirate techs in the decks that DPacman are bringing, while, in my opinion, being weaker decks on average across the board than what Purple's managed to do with the same lineup.
Yeah, just Warlock. I've been playing tons of Warlock recently, and you kind of just laugh at Shaman. Like, you've got so many AoEs, and they all just wipe a board. Like, every single time you're like, you have this 6 minion, but dead. You're going to remake the bot dead. You know, it's just kind of insane. Very similar to its matchup versus Aggro Druid a lot of the time. If you pull, say, 2 AoE effects, you're normally in very good stead.
Yes, I think definitely the full removal version can do a ton of work against these decks. Purple does have a lot of threats in there. He's also one interesting tech choice that Purple's gone with in his Warlock deck that I do want to talk about. He's playing 1 Abyssal Enforcer, which I've often found to be one of the strongest cards in a lot of matchups. But he's cut it out to streamline the deck and make room for, I believe, a Lich King would, I guess, be the direct replacement.
Yeah, there's Lich King, and also there's just chops and changes throughout, right? Because there's still double Doomsay, there's double Galacca, only 1 Mistress of Mixtures, for example.
He had to make room for double Tar Creeper and double Galactic Crawler because he was so fixated on needing to beat Pirate Warrior.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think Abyssal Enforcer, one of the problems you can run into a little bit late is you play it so late in the game that you might be dead or like close to dead at that point. But we'll get to Warlock at some point in this series. Now it's going to be the Paladin going up against the Priest, another style of deck from Purple that does very, very well versus Priest.
And here's the difference between Purple's Warrior targeting and Pacman's Warrior targeting, right? Purple has put 2 Galactic Crawlers in mid-range Murloc Paladin, which means in matchups where he's not eating a pirate with the crab, he still gets to play a 2-3 on the board. It's still a platform to land a Blessing of Kings on, land a Spike Ridge Steed, buff minions, all his Sunkeeper Tarim target, all this good stuff.
He doesn't run Kings.
He doesn't run Kings, you're right, my bad. However, Pacman is doing a similar thing, but he's got Galactic Crawlers in Control Paladin. Now, Control Paladin doesn't really do anything with having a 2-3 on the board, so when you're suddenly not playing against Pirate Warrior, you've just got a completely useless River Crocolisk in your deck.
Yeah. It's like, drop that against Warlock, great. Drop it against Priest, great. You know, it's not really going to get the work done. Purple off to a pretty good start, though, and, you know, that situation that you just described, he may have just played Galacca into nothing because he's against Priest, but it's still a board, and a board he can work with. He does need something to bridge the gap for turns 5 at the moment, just to keep the pressure going.
I was just going to say, I think he needs to coin Shadow Word Horror here, because if Megasaur were to come down here and pull those out of horror range, he does not have a nice way to clear that board up, and it's going to interrupt his ability to play Kazakus, which is what he really, really wants to do next turn. He cannot afford to have Megasaur come down, push a ton of damage, then he drops Kazakus, then he pushes a ton of damage again, and then even if his Kazakus potion is a 5-mana AoE, he's taken too much of a beating in the meantime to be able to recover. So the coin Horror play in that position doesn't feel great, because Horror is a great resource in the matchup, but I think it was dictated necessity because of the context of the matchup as it played out.
Yeah, and DPacman did have deal 4 to AoE on offer then, so I imagine that has to be picked up, especially in this matchup. Looking at Purple's hand though, now he has Getaway Kodo and the War Leader for next turn. It means he does bridge the gap to turn 5 and 6, then Curator 7, which is going to draw the Scalebane if it's not already been drawn by then. Purple is running 2 as well.
Yeah.
So it's not just the 1 he can get.
Great chance of it getting him the Gentle Megasaur as well, because he's already played 1 Galacta Crawler, which means it's twice as likely to pick up the Megasaur for him, which will be the one he wants in this spot.
Yeah, good mixture now as well. Getaway Kodo means, at worst, Purple can just replay a minion hero power. At best, it doesn't go off and he just Spike Ridges next turn, and then suddenly things start to snowball out of control.
Pac-Man, no choice, just gonna have to close his eyes. Hope that this isn't a redemption. If it was a redemption, he'd be pulling straight into that Spike Ridge turn, and then the snowball can really start. But since it is just a Getaway Kodo, great value, not so good for tempo.
This is nice though, because now Purple's drawn a Rock Pull. He doesn't even have to just be content with hero power. He can actually just Rock Pull down as well. It's looking very, very strong indeed.
Sticking with the value picks is Purple. Getaway Kodo over redemption.
I think one of the problems is if Shadow Reaper Anduin gets live and there's a big AoE this turn, we can see Dragonfires available.
Yeah.
Then you do have a problem that if you don't have a lot of refill, then Anduin hero power can actually just kill every single minion you play every turn.
For sure.
And that is actually how you lose as Paladin in this matchup, in my opinion at least. Purple does have a lot of card draw engine though. The Curator, the Getaway Kodos, the value from Tyrion and the True Silver as well. He can go for quite a long time, although there is the Ooze in DPacman's hand, so you can get rid of one of these weapons, but not both.
I must consider...
Itching over Dragonfire Potion here. I feel like I like seeing the Cabal Shadow Priest come down in this position. He does still have the Pint-Sized Potion remaining in his deck, which doesn't have any synergy left now that he's used the Shadow Word Horror, so maybe that's what he's thinking. But it's getting very quick towards the point of the game where Paladin can just bomb chain you, right? Like, small minions don't necessarily have to come out for the rest of the game now, which means Cabal Shadow Priest may struggle to find a target.
Yeah, he really might. If you had the potion this time and then he steals the Curator, then good work. But look at this hand now. This hand size shouldn't normally exist if you're playing an aggressive Paladin deck, or a fairly aggressive Paladin deck, I'd say. Cobalt Scalebane going to be the bane of DPacman in this matchup if he can't get hold of a good way to deal with it.
There's the Pint Size.
Ooh.
Seems that was his thinking, though, right? Like, the fact that he went Shadow Visions and then he snap-picked the Pint-Sized Potion, it does seem that's the reasoning, but he didn't want to play Cabal Shadow Priest on the previous turn. Knew he had that Shadow Visions to go digging. Knew if he didn't find a synergy card to go along with Pint-Sized Potion, that was just going to be a dead draw at some point. So I can't blame him.
Scalebane comes out next turn. It's not going to be Purple's for very long.
No.
Paladin actually kind of has a rough deal to actually get rid of that minion. Outside of, Tyrion. But Tyrion kind of gets rid of most minions.
Speaking of, it's turn 8. Tyrion's green. No, he's going to go wide. Doesn't want the tempo swing that's going to come from the Shadow Word Death potential. Doesn't want to play into Anduin on curve.
Yeah, he might actually dodge the Scalebane here. Yeah, Megasaur dies from Anduin, but who cares? It gets the buff down. It requires Anduin to deal with, and then all your other minions are safe. There's been no Raza yet from DPacman, which means there is no free cheeky hero powers he can get off. It would just be Anduin pass, and Purple's probably pretty okay with that outcome if it happens. He also gets the Megasaur back. Again.
So Pint-Sized Cabal is available, but now the board state is too wide for that to really have a significant impact. The Silence pickup is nice because it would allow him to neutralize another threat at the same time, but is that turn swingy enough at this point? I honestly don't think so.
What turn is swingy enough? I think that's the real question.
That is a better question.
Because I think Purple in this game has done a very good job of just never putting Pac-Man on a good turn.
Yeah.
Right? He's never had a nice turn, right? It's always been, guess I have to do this, and now
Right.
I guess I have to Dragonfire this
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
mediocre board. It's just never been like, I'm happy with this play.
Yeah, and it's something that you do always have to like keep an eye out for, particularly when you're like playing on ladder and you don't really have information as to what your opponent's doing. Sometimes it can just feel like, oh, I was so unlucky this game. I just never had a good turn. Or maybe you need to give some credit to your opponent for making it so that you never had a good turn.
See what the choice is. It is going to be pint size. DPacman deciding that is the best option. It does steal the Curator and put a 4/4 taunt in the way.
Yeah.
It seems reasonable to me, but we can see that there's plenty more where that came from.
Yeah, but that 4/4 taunt just trades with his 1-mana Murloc. Just has to press hero power and the trade is there. It's always going to happen.
Yeah, it is. There's still...
This was his big turn. This is what he was saving up for. It's why he used his Dragonfire Potion already. He could have just Cabaled a minion on 6 and still had a Dragonfire Potion. He's chosen to do it this way round, and look how far it's got him.
Not very.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, there's one getaway Kodo is still live. Then there's another one. Suddenly Anduin doesn't matter. you know, your Anduin turns something. Well, back to hand, play it again, and now you can't play Anduin again.
So how concerned is Purple about the possibility of Shadow Reaper Anduin? What read does he take from that turn coming out? Was this better than just slamming Shadow Reaper Anduin and killing the 5/4?
I think it probably was in the long run. Either the Megasaur kills itself, the Murloc's only going to get bigger, which gets killed by Anduin anyway, and at this point your opponent, as in Purple, is probably only going to play big stuff, kind of like what you said. Like Paladin can hit the point where it's just bomb chaining. So I guess the idea is because he doesn't have Raza, then Anduin can get potentially more value than it has so far.
Well, your reads don't matter. Can't play around the top deck.
Not with this hand. Anything you play dies, and he has 2 more weapons. Worst case scenario, Anduin this turn, and then the trade happens, you get Tyrion back.
Yeah.
Then you can swing with a weapon, your weapon gets killed, then you replay Tyrion, or you play True Silver, or you play Rallying Blade. You can combine those with Cobalt Scalebane.
Basically, what you're trying to say here, Raven, Purple has a lot of options.
Yeah,
And
and
many
they're
of
all
them are
good.
good.
Yeah.
I must consider.
I do apologize as well. I did mention DPacman can get rid of 1 weapon. He has both oozes in hand,
Yes.
so I do rewind time a little bit there, and my bad.
I didn't even hear you say that.
I said it many turns ago, but I just missed the ooze being next to it.
Fair enough.
The ooze being next to the ooze.
Just wasn't listening to you as usual, Raven.
Sounds reasonable to me. Again, though, DPacman probably just feels he has to end it. When you have to make a play that you feel there's no other choice, it definitely feels bad overall. There's Tyrion back in hand. Free Ashbringer. Why not?
Ooh, Megasaur number 2.
Ooh, sound like Homer then.
Ooh.
I think it's reasonably important that Purple considers getting these Spike-Rich Steeds out of hand.
I can see that.
I like just, let me just get this value. Let me just hit Spike-Ridge and punch something, because as I mentioned earlier, if things start to go very wrong for Purple and DPacman just kills all the minions every single turn, then Hero Power Spike-Ridge isn't a good play, right? It doesn't do anything. So I would consider or think about Purple playing the next couple of Spike-Ridge Steeds in the next 2 to 3 turns here.
And this is why I just love Scalebane so much in this deck. A lot of my picks for the players I predicted, I was looking for lineups that included Paladin with Scalebane specifically. And it just lets you stagger your threats so effectively, because whenever you feel like you're running out of gas, you drop Scalebane. Scalebane itself is a threat, and then it turns another minion that wasn't a threat before into a threat.
In Paladin, you can, worst case, press Hero Power.
Yeah,
It's like a 4/1 and a 5/5 for 7 mana.
Yeah, a 4/1 and a 5/5 dragon. Is that good against
That will
Priest?
still buff.
Colon thinking colon.
Yeah. It's been a long time since you pulled that one out of the bag. There's Ooze, number 1. I think that's a strange choice of Ooze. Is using his, okay,
He's
he's
using
using 4
all
mana.
his mana.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
run it back.
Yep.
That's reasonable, because you could say, well, you're never getting more armor than an Ashbringer in this game. Do you just guarantee it now? But yes, with the Holy Nova, of course, he wants to use his whole amount of mana.
Great catch, by the way, just at the last moment for DPacman. As the rope was burning, he kept his composure. Holy smited the I've forgotten the name of the card, Hydrologist, before the Holy Nova came out. So the sequencing would mean that the Getaway Kodo gave the Hydrologist back, a much weaker card to proc off the Getaway Kodo. Very sensibly done.
And weapon number 18 million in Purple's deck so far, as the True Silver goes down to clear this up. And again, Purple's just like, yeah, okay, no problem. But look at that previous turn. Another awkward turn. DPacman clears some of the board, leaves a Scalebane up. And now Getaway Kodo number 2 is live. And suddenly Tyrion is multiplying.
I've got chills, Raven. They're multiplying. DPacman's losing control.
I'm not even... I can't even follow that up. Just because... Just imagine you in that song, in that video. Gotta shape up. Would you be a skin-tight leather catsuit?
Oh, yeah. All day.
Unfortunately, I can imagine it.
This game looking like it's about to go off like an Olivia neutron bomb. I'll be here all day.
Oh, unfortunately, that's true. Gluttonous is coming down to clear up this True Silver now, but DPacman already knows there's at least one more Tyrion. A throw up of the hands of Purple just saying, come on, friend, come on. And this, I genuinely think, if DPacman had Raza available, he would be in a way better spot. Even just, maybe even a controlling spot here, with the Velen as well. He's controlling these Getaway Kodos pretty well, though, just handing back Hydrologist. But if this continues, it's just going to be, well, this Hydrologist makes you spend 2 mana every single turn.
Right. It gets to the point where it's kind of like, is this good? Like, you're kind of dealing with the Getaway Kodo every time, but
do you want to give him another Scalebane or a Stonehill? That's the problem, right?
But if, like, I mean, Purple's set out to play a value battle here anyway, right? Like, the way he's played the whole time has been very much value-oriented. So if the Getaway Kodos keep coming, then you're actually giving them more net value, allowing him to do that off a Hydrologist over and over and over again, and then eventually it lands on a Tarim or a Tyrion or whatever it is.
Yeah, I do like this play as well. Just like I said, getting at least one Spike Ridge out of your hand, right? You're running 2, they're sat in hand doing nothing. You get instant trade value here versus just Hero Power Spike Ridge. No rush on the Tyrion right now.
And still no Raza for DPacman.
It's important to note DPacman, because of this heavier tech he's gone for, doesn't play Mind Blast, which means Purple, even though he's gone for Eye for an Eye as the secret, just to be like, extra damage seems good, he isn't afraid of just dying from 23. 1, Raza isn't live. 2, no Mind Blast. Feels very safe on this health total at the moment.
Yeah, and Kazakus already used for a 5-mana potion as well, so no Kazakus for 1 coming into play either.
Shadowy thoughts.
You just healed it. Yeah, I think this is right. Get another spell from Lyra and just heal. You need to do something here, and Doomsay was not the answer.
Yeah, this matchup is not really going to be decided by health totals. So didn't get full value out of the Greater Healing Potion, but trying to cycle it into something more board-centric off the Lyra just makes a ton of sense.
And cheap spell, combo with Velen. Not bad.
Yeah, fine. Oh, you mean combo with the hero power and...
Yes, yeah, just a cheap spell.
So wait, Velen in a fire? Thinking what?
Just get Divine Spirit afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can see the level of control or comfort Purple feels here. He has 2 Tyrions in hand, and his turn is equip Rallying Blade Tarim. Yeah. You know, most players would be like, Tyrion, go, you know, but he's just like, I don't actually need to. I'm just going to play this slowly, get as much value out of all the cards that I can.
I wonder if there was a playing with your hair per minute metric, whether Purple would be top for a Hearthstone player.
Oh, player, sure. Okay. Caster, maybe not.
Okay, that's fair.
Maybe, oh, Pacman's making a play onto this game. it's like...
Shadowy thoughts.
Yeah, I think Orange would be in contention for at least one of the top 2 spots. Maybe not. Look at this. Even this late into the game, just a horrible turn for Pac-Man.
The shadows grow short.
I'm pretty sure Purple could actually just play Tyrion into this Doomsayer, go face with everything, and still feel okay about this game. Ooh, I like it. Now, is he validated or not? I'm confused.
Vindicated.
Oh, is it vindicated?
The card is called validated, but that is incorrect. It's just not. It's just not English.
Take that, Team 5.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm sorry to break the news to you, but the word you were looking for was vindicated.
Sottle's opinions do not represent the opinions of Raven. Leave me out of this.
Put your faith in the light.
Yeah. Told you. Purple's okay just going face and playing one of his Tyrions into this. Thank you, Ashbringer. He knows double weapon removal from DPacman has already been used, so he has the 15 damage out of this Ashbringer, and if time permits, another 15 from the second Ashbringer.
Is it just Valentine? Do you just have to make some kind of gambit?
To be fair, Velen powered shield.
Yeah.
You've got to consider he needs something to kill it.
Right.
And if he kills it, he's not killing me. Draws him a card as well. There's either that or the desperation of Radiant Elemental powered shield.
Radiant Elemental Powered Shield has to hit exactly Raza for it to be better, right?
That's why I said desperation. Because you know it's dead next turn to the Ashbringer anyway. 9 cards, still no Raza. Rough game for DPacman, but he has had everything else. So one of these key cards, not uncommon to find in your bottom cards here. He is going to go for the Velen and just say, well, Purple needs something to make this happen. He did have Raza as his draw.
This just honestly isn't that unlikely. Like, he's got down to his last 8 cards, and one of Raza or Shadow Reaper Anduin being down there starts to approach 35–40%, even in your last 7 to 8 cards. It gets down to 30% to be in your last 5. Like, it's not that unlikely, so I have no sympathy for players like, oh, you know, my Raza was bottom 5.
That's what I'm saying. Anduin, Velen, Kazakus.
Right.
All there. Right. Kazakus was there pretty much on time as well. But if there's one that you don't want to be there often, it's Raza. At least you can make things happen with Raza. A little bit more, or long-term impactful, should I say.
He's getting there, though. The pings are going to start to come down, and he's just found it in time enough. Yeah, realizes Purple that cannot race it from this position, and that is just going to settle the series.
I wonder if Purple played that a little bit too slowly.
I wondered that the whole way through. You know, I mentioned it straight away when it was Getaway Kodos being taken over Redemptions. My experience with that matchup is just beating them up very, very quickly, making sure that it's not about necessarily, oh, my board gets filled, my board gets clear, let's make sure I have a refill. It's my board is too difficult to clear, and then I can land my buffs the next turn.
Yeah.
Purple's deck is very different from the one I favor, though, because I like playing Blessing of Kings and going full buff and being more aggressive. He has a deck that's more set out for value. He plays Stonehills as well, which I don't generally. So different deck, built for a different game plan. He executed as he saw fit. Yeah,
but DPacman does even it up 1-1. This is win and in to the Summer Championship. So Pac-Man has got to be feeling fantastic about getting this game. He's very, very happy. We'll be back soon with the next game. Don't go anywhere.
That is what it is all about. It is a 3-step program from this point. You have to win this series right in front of you to qualify to the championships. Then you fight for the right of being called the America's champion as we finish up proceedings today. And then you fight for the privilege to hold that trophy aloft above your head and call yourself the actual seasonal champion of Hearthstone.
Yeah, David and Goliath's story for this first quarterfinals for me. Purple, everyone's known for a very long time, an exceptional player, and his performance here has been nothing short of that. Going after the Swiss, undefeated. And DPacman, Tavern Hero, one of the best performances from a Tavern Hero I've ever seen. And if he wins this, definitely the best performance from a Tavern Hero. A lot on the line for both these players here. Hey, this is going to be the Warlock versus the Shaman, and this is what I said earlier. I've played a good chunk of Warlock, and unless my draw is absolutely terrible, if I find one AoE, and I kind of laugh at the Shaman list. But purple not having the AoE, but guess what? Going 1, 2, 3 into this list is actually pretty fine.
This.
Oh, never mind. That's the AoE. Got him.
This is just brutal. I'm fairly sure this kind of draw was outlawed in the Geneva Convention. There is no way this is fair. He has Taunts to block aggression. He has Galacta Crawler to eat the Pirate plus Patches start. He has Gluttonous Ooze to shut down the J-Claws start. And he had Mistress of Mixtures to compete with every other 1-2 that Shaman plays and 0-2 totems. He has every single base covered, and that was before he drew the Defile.
And now he's just rub salt in the wound as the Lich King to end the game. But yeah, this is absolutely insane start from Purple. The raise of the hand there is like, oh, Flame Tongue, I'm with you, Purple, don't get me started. Look at this Hellfire next turn. This is what I'm saying, is Defile, Hellfire. Even the Dreadlords get tons of work done later on. The AoE is just so powerful here.
Purple taking a moment to consider the Tar Creeper. I do like it, though. The only thing that's a super clean punish is second Jade Claws, which that would be a second Jade Claws at that point.
Also second Flame Tongue.
Sure, all right, fine. Yeah, two individual one-offs, but things like Bloodsail Corsair charging Patches, that overkills, Jade Lightning overkills, neither of them are massively swingy turns, and you have game against both of them coming back the other way. Even second Flame Tongue, you have game with Hellfire.
Yeah.
Just Hellfire away the Flame Tongue.
Yeah, Hellfire's just insane.
Yeah.
Unless it is actually the Doppelgangster Evolve turn, Hellfire just clears the board. It may as well be Twisted Nether at that point.
Yeah.
There's the one Abyssal as well. Not going to be bad for late game. Purple does have to keep an eye on his health, because that's the tricky part of this deck. You can play all these cards and you will take some damage at a lot of points. As long as you don't let yourself get too low and have some way to just end the game at that point, you're doing great. But you can hurt yourself enough with life taps and the self-damage abilities that it gets too much. But Purple's like, nah.
It's not the best Despicable Dreadlord I've ever seen, but it was something to do this turn that was very important, because otherwise you're looking at life tap Galacta Crawler, and look at how different this world is. Because I'm sure if nothing had been drawn and he life tapped and he whiffed, I'm certain we would have seen the Galacta Crawler getting played. Because Patches has already come out. Bloodsail Corsairs are the only 2 draws left in the deck that actually get eaten by Crawler. So he would only have a 2-3 on board this turn, and he would not be able to. Never mind. He would still be able to eat this Bloodsail.
I believe after yesterday's Swiss rounds ended, Purple did call himself a Galacta Crawler gamer, and you can see why
GCG.
right now. The old GCG, yeah. And look at this, the Defile. Not doing what you would expect it to do, do the multiple Defile hits, clearing the board. But with the Dreadlord, it's just, hey, what's up? Aya, good draw for DPacman. It's something that doesn't just get completely cleaned out and can at least challenge the board a tiny bit.
Oof. The Abyssal on curve, though.
Yeah, sure. And then the Dreadlord to trade.
Yep. Well, the... Huh?
Oh, he could have traded the Galacta. Yeah, right. Purple knows it.
Purple, please.
I mean, Purple is so in sync.
Slow down, take a moment, play with your hair a little bit, get back in the zone.
That's what this matchup kind of does to you as the Warlock when you draw like that. You're like, oh, you've made something, it's dead. Right. Oh, you've made something, it's dead.
Right.
You just say, well, I can't lose at this point. That's the mindset Purple's getting in. That was an error, though.
Yes, it
was.
We
saw the power of Dreadlord, and you don't just want to throw that guy away.
The only real impact that has on the game is that DPacman would be at 14 now and not 15, because he would have had to hit a 4-1 with the J-Claw.
Also, as well, the 1-1 would be dead.
No, that just spawned. He just played Primal Winter.
Yeah, but I mean, like, now it would be dead, right? Because it would still be, the Dreadlord would still be alive.
No, he would have hit it with the J-Claws instead of the 3-1.
Oh, sorry, the J-Claws. Yeah, of course.
Hello.
DPacman's head down, Purple smiling. Welcome to this matchup.
Pac-Man, I'm sorry to take such delight in your misery, but please play Doppelgangster.
Well done. Nom 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 nom.
Bang!
Frostmourne from Lich King as well. He's just like, yeah.
Well,
Salt in the wound. Woo! What a game.
yeah, and that game in particular was kind of just torturous for DPacman. The opening hand was incredibly strong from Purple, and then I wonder if we can criticize the sequencing there at the end, because it's very, very difficult when you're dealing with Evolve and Devolve specifically to compensate for all the random effects that you can end up with. But, you know, if you were playing a taunt that turn, did you have to consider, oh, I can get Swamp King Dread, I should drop taunt first, or is there something that punishes you the other way?
Don't know.
We don't have the answers to these questions.
I'd have to sit and think about it.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you later on and let you know. At least
Baron Geddon, right?
That's true, yeah. You could just choose not to play if Geddon comes down, so tough choice. But Purple goes 2-1 up, and although that game was pretty much back-breaking at that point, it wouldn't have been so difficult to see the game kind of being played out like that anyway, even without that insane draw, because you just saw the power of just stacking AoEs against Shaman. It's incredibly difficult to fight back from. And
honestly, the Shaman draw was borderline perfect as well. Up until the point he drew patches, which is obviously terrible. He went Firefly, he had Flame Tongue Totem, he had J-Claws. He was actually beating the powerful start from Purple for the first 3 turns. It's just that it kept going from Purple after that. And that's actually one of my big problems with Shaman right now, is that even the best draws don't seem good enough against some decks at the moment.
Yeah, and this is quarterfinal number 1, and we've got plenty more coming up for you, though. It is going to be Empanizado versus Ike in quarterfinal number 2. Oh,
hey guys.
Hey, hi, how's it going? I'd love to know what they just got told. Wave, and they're like, what? Why? Just wave. But yeah, those players are going to be coming up next. They're looking forward to sitting back and watching that one. It's one of the cool things about the way you know, we have multiple casters, so the rotations work, which means we can just sit back and enjoy that match. I feel like it's going to be a great one. And Empanizado has actually impressed me greatly in terms of its play. I kind of said that all the way from we cast him match 1, right? Was it match 1 of round 1?
Yeah, I believe we cast him like week 1 of HGG, if you want to go all the way back.
Sure. But he's really impressed me in this tournament so far, and fingers crossed. But Ike also doing work, especially for you in the points total, Sottle, even though it doesn't really matter anymore. Let's get back to this one. DPacman, the Tavern Hero, versus Purple, the veteran. And there's a touch the hair, touch the hood. Let's get going. A 1-2. It feels like Purple can do no wrong. In this tournament. He's undefeated. His priest is undefeated solely. And yes, the decks are built to do what they have been doing, but I feel like when we've seen it on stream at least, they've been doing it to the extremest of values.
Yeah, I mean, Purple is a player who is, when he is zoned in, he is as good as it gets.
Is he zoned or zonged?
I believe I said zoned.
It sounded like zonged for some reason. I was like, what is this new hipster phrase?
When he's zoned in, he's one of the very, very best players in the game. You know, Firebat's World Championship trophy, he attributes in no small part to Purple helping him out enormously.
Purple owns 10% of that trophy.
Right, behind the scenes. He's won a DreamHack. He's a former America's champion. And these all come at periods where he's actually very fully dedicated to the game. He does have periods where that's not the case. And that's why you kind of see these peaks and troughs in his Hearthstone career. But he has a skill set which is incredible and almost unmatched by other players, because he's creative, he can think outside the box, he's mechanically fantastic, that Dreadlord mistake aside that we just saw in a previous series, and he is frighteningly good at maths.
Yeah.
His calculations of percentages and outs and draws and what the likely scenarios are done at lightning speed.
Did I tell you my peaks and troughs story?
No, but please do.
When I first heard that phrase, not too many years, well, fair few years ago now, actually.
Great, I can already tell.
I was out with some friends, enjoying a milk.
Sure.
And I thought my friend said pigs and troughs. And I was like, well, but my brain went, those two things kind of go together. But then I couldn't work out why a pig is better than a trough. I didn't get it. I was like, well, they both give you food to a certain extent. And I didn't get the phrase for, honestly, a long time. The answer to that, I didn't get it that night. It took weeks.
I love you, Raven.
I was like, pigs and troughs. Why are pigs good? Like, I don't know. I mean, I like pigs, but
meanwhile,
it was just weird. I just didn't get it.
In Hearthstone, the game that we're actually playing, on the line, qualification game for Purple, Murloc Paladin versus Shaman. is this is why Shaman remains popular, is that it can tend to pick apart these kinds of matchups, the Pirate Warriors and the Murloc Paladins that it comes up against. It can be a little bit faster. Flame Tongue Totem can break early board states. Jade Claws is just insane in these kinds of matchups. And then obviously Devolve, because both of the decks are very buff-based. You know,
tribal-based
Yeah,
as well.
tribal-based, exactly. You know, you want your minions to be specifically Murlocs and specifically Pirates, and you want to put buffs on them. So then the combination of those things means Devolve gets you a huge amount of value.
Blizzard saw ahead. Nerfing Murlocs. Nerfing Pirate Warriors to a certain extent. Well, then Shaman gets nerfed. So then everyone's going to play a different style. But then Hex is too strong. 4 mana Hex, there we go. So, see the lines.
Raven just sees the Matrix.
Just ahead of the game, what can I say? Stood myself down for yourself.
There's some guy in Blizzard's design department that's got really depressed reading all the bad feedback about the Hex nerf over the last couple of weeks, and he's just watching this broadcast. He's like, yes, Raven gets it! Finally, one guy!
Raven gets it.
Yeah.
So far, though, Purple's doing a very good job of just keeping hold of this board. Like you said, DPacman can battle for it, but now Purple, I feel, is very, very close to that one step too far, and we can see a follow-up of Scalebane into Scalebane might just be a bigger step too far.
Scalebane into Shield Bearer Scalebane.
Oh my god. Can be a 3/4 for 1 mana taunt.
This card was in Zoo when Reynad had finished creating the Earth, the Day, the Night, the Moon, and the Stars, and then created Hearthstone.
Sunday.
And then followed that up by creating Zoo. Shield Bearer was a card in that deck because it was just so insane when you got a buff on it. It just became like a ridiculous pile of stats. Well, sure, Cobalt Scalebane. Seems good.
It's kind of nuts. Like, put a buff on it. Is a remake of an old phrase.
If you like it, then you should have put a buff on it.
Yeah, there you go. Scalebane likes a lot of things.
Yeah.
And hopefully for Purple, it's not going to be a whole lot of buffing for a whole lot of nothing. As he is quite ahead in this game so far. Jade Lightning without spell damage totem isn't going to take down that Scalebane. He would need to not combine it with Claws this turn, it'd have to be next turn, but then he wants to drop the Ire. And if he Jade Lightning's the 5/1 rock pool, well, guess what? There's a Scalebane still on the board. There's no good options here.
The Jades are getting very competitive, though, and with Jade Lightning and Aya still in hand, he is getting to a position where he's fighting back against this board, but is he prepared for Cobalt Scalebane #2?
The Jade started competing in some online cups. It's getting competitive, working their way towards the playoffs. Oh my god, if it goes in the Shield Bearer, this is great.
Wants to deal with the 3/3 Jade. He could have gone second Scalebane and Shield Bearer and just, you know, left the Shield Bearer in the way of the 3/3.
Ooh, what a minion.
But then I guess there's the potential then that the Scalebane buff each other and don't buff the Shield Bearer, and then the idea of putting like a 3/4 or bigger wall in the way of the 3/3 doesn't work out. So Purple just mitigating the random effects, made a board state that was kind of fine no matter what happened.
Though seeing the double Scalebane high five both is kind of glorious. They just meet in the middle like, hey! Plus damage for everyone. Yeah, this Jade out 4/4s is just about getting close to killing the Scalebane with the help of this Maelstrom or the Flame Tongue. Just look at the damage actually at this point.
The damage output is insane.
It's a lot of Damahe.
And this is where the slight drawback of Scalebane being a delayed Iron Dragon and not immediate Iron Dragon comes into play, because if these buffs were landing instantly, he'd be pushing damage a lot more rapidly, and now you can feel every fiber in Purple's being wants to hit this man in the face and win this game. He's trying to find a reason to trade. He's trying to talk himself out of it. It is, of course, Shaman. The reasons are very apparent. Flame Tongue Totem.
Yeah. I actually do like what Purple's doing here if he kills this totem, because he's going halfway between, and a lot of times halfway is bad. You want to fully commit to something, but look at the damage he has available.
Okay, he wants the buffs to miss the Murloc ideally, because that's where Maelstrom Portal could come into play, and Maelstrom and Flame Tongue can end up being backbreaking for him. He's not going to have lethal set up for the next turn as we see it just now. This is disrupting Pac-Man's turn a lot. And this is something that I know Purple practices with Zalay a lot, and it's a phrase that I first heard Purple use, and I've used it a ton since then. He described the value of going face, where you can actually force your opponent to do bad things by just slamming face every single turn, and that stops them from getting value out of their cards. That's exactly what you saw there from Purple, being aggressive, and now Pac-Man doesn't have time to play Iron.
Yeah, very rough. And, you know, even hero power outside of the second flame tongue misses the taunt. There's 7. Already seen it devolve. Hang on.
We didn't.
No, sorry. That was last game. He's not seen it devolve yet.
Pac-Man perks up. He thought he was dead. He realizes there's still a game of Hearthstone. Pac-Man is still alive. You can still be the first Tavern hero to qualify. This is not over just yet.
It's close, though.
It is.
With the death rattle going on the Murloc there, on the wall leader, it means that Spike Ridge is very likely to land.
Again, same dilemma as last turn.
Well, for me, what has to happen if Purple goes face to not win next turn?
Literally the entire board has to
exactly
be cleared, or a taunt token. And only the 2 1/1s remain on board. That would also not be lethal.
To me, that sounds like a lot.
It does.
But Purple is just playing it safe. He's like, well, guess what? Young Dragonhawk and a 1/1 will never kill me next turn. That is never going to happen. He still has Tyrion. He still has the Curator as well to refill his hand. He still has just Hero Power Steed and then asking the opponent if he has Devolved.
Pac-Man just going through the motions, whiffs
not
on the Taunt Totem. Purple, he perks up. I think he is seeing his goal being completed. Pac-Man throws out the well done, and it's going to be a repeat result from their final Swiss match. Pac-Man signs off with the salute, but it's Purple who is going to continue marching on through this tournament.
Yeah, just extremely solid play. He is still undefeated in this tournament. He's undefeated with Priest. All of his decks seem to be getting the job done. There was the slight hiccup with the trade that was incorrect from Purple, but that was just an excitable, I think it was excitable, yeah, I'm killing all your stuff, ha ha ha, and then a quick pause. But he is going to be your first player that's going to the Summer Championships from the Americas region. I am excited to see him play, but a huge shout out to DPacman. Tavern Hero getting top 8 is an exceptional performance, and losing to Purple, who seems like he cannot be beaten, is huge.
Yeah, take nothing away from it, but Purple is the first man from the Americas region to take the short and leisurely trip over to sunny California to join us here for the HCT Summer Championship, and a well-deserved privilege it is. Purple is an incredible player, a man that has accolades of his own and has worked behind the scenes to achieve accolades for others as well. He is a former Americas champion,